Hello, freak bitches. Like, we got real problems in this country. It's not a joke anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that Charlottesville thing, that just showed everybody. When you saw those guys walking down the street with those citronella Home Depot torches, I was like, this is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Screaming white lives matter.
It's crazy.
Like, you know who said it best, man? I have a great quote. Sturgill Simpson sent me this because he had an email exchange with Dr. Rick Strassman, who's the guy that wrote the DMT, the spirit molecule.
Yeah.
And they had an email exchange. He said, for starters, I would say, this is Rick Strassman saying this, that what we're seeing is a failure of the educational system. This is due to faults within the system itself, as well as attacks on the system, that system from outside by forces and institutions that gain to benefit from ignorance and addiction, both religious, faith, and the love of community have degenerated into crude parodies of what they're capable of being. Regarding where this is all heading, he says, my Zen teacher used to say that the force of good, this is what I thought was really interesting, the forces of good relative to the forces of evil are always around 50.1% versus 49.9%. There's a similar notion in Judaism along these lines that the future of the world depends upon a single individual's actions. And I think it says something like, paradoxical, like, we are a speck of dust and the fate of the universe hinges on us.
Wow.
That quote right there, we are a speck of dust and, in quotes, the fate of the universe hinges on us. That, when I read that today, I was like, holy shit. Like, that's so true.
Yeah. And
I mean, you see this right now, like what's going on with Charlottesville and what's going on with the way Trump is reacting to it all and the way people are reacting to it all. Like, people are digging in their heels and forming sides. And this is any group that wouldn't think that this is completely insane and totally out of control. Like, any group of people that wouldn't think that someone driving a car into a group of protesters just randomly, running over a girl, any group that wouldn't denounce that instantaneously as one of the most heinous things ever. This is exactly what we're terrified of. We see happening in Paris and in other parts of the world. And here we have an American doing it, and our differentiation is not even that, you know, we're being attacked. Well, the way we're looking at it in terms of it's white people and white nationalists versus Antifa, right? We're not even looking at it like we're all Americans. We're not even looking at it like we're all on the same team. We're literally homegrown terrorism. That's a homegrown terrorist activity.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I mean, so you're worried about Al Qaeda, you're worried about ISIS, you're worried about the Taliban. You've got something right here that is willing to drive a car into a random group of people that look just like him. A bunch of white people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is completely fucking insane.
Well, and the craziest part is they're not doing it to overthrow like the yoke of empire. It's not like you know, Ireland back in the 70s with British control. Like, at least you can kind of be like, they don't want to be controlled by the British. These people are literally living in the most free country. Like, you know, they're prosperous to the point of almost boredom where they start. And I don't think Antifa realizes how much similarity they have to the people they claim to be fighting against.
It's a natural progression.
Yeah.
When you have extremely violent protests like these people happen, everybody ramps it up. They ramp it up on the left, they ramp it up on the right, everybody gets angry, and this fucking asshole drives into a bunch of people. Fuck, man.
It's fucking awful.
And then Trump said, here's the thing, all this happened because they were taking down a statue of Robert E. Lee, who's the leader of the Confederates, right? Trump literally said today, what's next? Are we going to take down a statue of George Washington? It's like, what?
That's a bit of a false equivalence there.
Like, what? How the fuck can he even say that? Like, this is... He's got some weird thing going on where he has to dance around his support for white supremacists or white nationalists. He has to dance around it.
Which is weird because they're not that big of a group. Like, it's not like...
But if they're on your side, they're all on your side.
You know what I'm saying? 10,000 people? And
who knows? It might be a lot more than you think, man. Might be a lot of closet racists out there.
I see so much similarities between, like, white racists and then like the social justice racists, where it's like it's usually like the white Nazis are like the losers trying to get something out of their skin, and then social justice warriors a lot of times are trying to get something out of an oppressed status. And both of those groups, I'm like, you're both trying to avoid merit. Like you're both just trying to get something from your stupid group, because you never see like a Nazi as like good looking or successful. They're always just like, I deserve some shit because I'm white. And you're like, then that means you're weak as fuck.
I just think it's just a massive failure from the beginning to now of thinking. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and just like the agenda thing, where it's like you start ignoring basic reality to get clicks or, outrage culture.
Well, it's just not the way to go. You just join up with all white people like that. It's just insane. It's completely insane.
And even the concept of white is a new concept. Like growing up, it's like, oh, you're Irish or Italian, or It's like, when did this fucking federation kick off?
Well, we've been forced in this position by a thing called white privilege. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I checked it on my way in.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is we're all human beings who migrated from Africa. That's a fact.
Yeah.
You go back far enough, but we're not willing to go back farther. We're stopping wherever the fuck, we got this accent from, and this is my homeland, and I'll defend it till my death. That guy's just that color because it never fucking, it's always cloudy.
Yeah, vitamin
never
D
stops
deficiency.
raining. Yeah,
that's literally it.
Exactly. That's why they're so pale. They're trying to suck as much of the vitamin D out of the sky as they can.
Yeah, because like 2% couldn't get pussy because they died.
They died from lack of vitamin D.
And that's how evolution works.
They turn into paper, those people. They're little goddamn solar panels just walking around sucking in the vitamin D. They're all Africans. Irish people are Africans that just stayed in Ireland.
Yes.
That's what they are. That's what we all are.
It's just like a flash when we started separating, and it really has nothing to do with who we are as people.
I can see the criticism. Yeah, you're one of those, bro, I don't even see color people. Those people, I don't even see color, bro.
No, you're like, no, I am racist, but like, listen, I don't want you in my store, but I know we're equal.
Yeah.
I don't even see color, man, except with the gay rainbow.
Yeah, just I'm not into Raiders fans or, Chinese food shoppers.
Yeah, like I used to do a song where it was like, black dudes with more than one pit bull scare the shit out of me, but a black guy with a cell phone on his belt I trust.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I would do it. I would have the crowd yell
like a guy
out any
that works
group.
at Verizon?
Yeah, because it's all cultural signifiers.
Right.
And so I would have the crowd yell out anybody, white people. It's like white dudes with teardrop tattoos in Idaho scared, and you just go through any race. And you're like, look, it's that Chris Rock joke that I won't repeat because of my privileged. But like, there's this group and then there's this group.
Yes.
And everybody knows which one are the dickheads and which one, not even dickheads, but from a position of like desperation.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are in history.
If I walk by too many dudes that have their pants sagging, it's like more than two of them, I'll go, oh, these guys must make stupid decisions.
Yeah, bad decision, guys.
Yeah. If you got like your pants like down like to like the downward curve of your ass.
Right.
Like it's riding the curve, and I can see like a giant percentage of your underwear.
Yeah, one guy may have forgot a belt. Two guys, they're hiding guns.
It's not even that. It's just they're just making stupid decisions with their life, for
Right.
sure.
You don't learn. Like my mom was teaching a class once, and she was like, they took N-word Jim out of Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah, they did.
Like
they took that word out.
You can't know a time unless you know the characters from that time, And it's giving people a real disservice to just like emasculate and neuter our history so that everybody can't see what real dangers are, like what just happened in Charlottesville. Like all the people that called Dave Rubin a Nazi now have to use the same word for these people.
Right, exactly.
And it's like now it has no meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good, very good point.
Thank you.
It's really important to not overreact to people that don't have the exact same opinion as you. Now, when something like this happens, you realize, okay, that's what you should react to.
Exactly.
This is real. This is real. You got a bunch of douchebags with with torches from Home Depot or wherever the fuck they got this. The citronella people have them in like the suburbs. They have like a tiki party in the backyard.
Dude, I was gonna buy some and now I can't.
Come on,
like
guys.
I was literally gonna I like those torches for killing mosquitoes, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy those now because of Charlottesville.
And all these guys, I mean, if any of those people that are into that are listening, I'm not even upset at you. As a human, you get trapped into patterns of thinking. I'm upset at that pattern. I'm upset that this is a repeating pattern that's happened through human history, where people decide that there's specific groups that somehow or another deserve preferential treatment or are better or superior or should dominate over other groups. It's stupid, and it's bad for business. It's bad for the business of being human beings.
Yeah.
It gets in the way. You're judging people on nonsense, and you get to all be in the group just because you have similar skin color. That's fucking stupid. You're allowing a bunch of losers in your group then, because your only differentiation is that they have to be white. That is insanely stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's like,
you're going to miss out on all the cool black people. You're going to miss out on all the cool Cubans and all the cool Puerto Ricans. You're going to miss out on them. And you're gonna think that you have some family in this idea that you all have Nordic roots or something like that. It's so dumb. I understand if you run into people that are black and they're racist against white people and you feel like, white people have to protect themselves. If you get in one of those situations, and those situations are real, they can happen. Racism can occur on both sides. And it's another disingenuous thing that the left is doing, is accepting this idea that you can only be racist if you're white.
That's a racist statement.
It's so racist. It's so ridiculous. But this is something that people I think they've kind of let it go for most recently, like out there in the Twitter sphere. But for a good long time, it was a defensible argument that a black person couldn't be racist because racism is all about power, and black people don't have power over white people. Like, well, that is, you're changing the word. You're changing the fucking word, and you're going to empower actual racists.
Of course. And it's like you don't know Nazis till you know Treaty of Versailles. And you don't know this until just over-shaming always has a springboard effect.
Always.
Like after World War I, it's the same with the shamed gay guy is the one that hates gay people,
Yeah.
Where it's like shame is a horrible thing in people. And so World War I, blood on all hands. That was started and executed for very bizarre reasons. They blamed Germany for all of it to the point where they destroyed Germany, and then they were looking for a voice that gave them hope, and that voice is insane. And so that happens. That happened in this, where it's like, dear white people, being white, you should just say sorry all the fucking time, even though your people came in 1900.
Well, you can see it today in the people that never criticize Trump and have like exclamation points, and they write MAGA after all their tweets, no matter what Trump does, no matter what Trump says.
Yeah.
It's always amazing. Everything's always perfect. Like, okay, well, I see what you're doing, because you're not really thinking.
Right.
You're not really thinking. You got a fucking team. You're go Raiders. Let's go Raiders. You're let's go Trump. Like, well, now this is not healthy. This is not a normal way to discuss super important issues. When Trump said today that, like, what's next? They're going to take down a statue of George Washington. It's like they took down a statue of Robert E. Lee, and everybody's freaking out. What's next? We're going to take down a statue of George Washington? And you're like, what?
Yeah, that's like when the word normalizing actually fits. Like all these things that have been so flooded, that is normalizing something terrible. But it's like
so crazy
you can't
that he
compare
thought that was an
George
okay thing to
fucking
say.
Washington with Robert E. Lee is actually a problem. But the left is like pointed out problems to the point where no one, you can't have you don't trust your instincts right now.
Yeah.
Where you're like, if I say this, does this make me racist? It's like, what, that it's 80 degrees outside? How is that linked?
And also I think anybody coming in and deciding to do something is a problem. Like people coming in and deciding to take down a statue.
Yeah.
That statue is a symbol to a lot of people, and a lot of people step in and say, hey, this is it. I think there should be some sort of real, prolonged, intelligent conversation about what that statue means, and have it in a way where a bunch of people can see it, and have it represented on both sides. Have it represented by the side of people that think it's a good idea to keep it up, and have it represented on the side of someone who thinks it's a good idea to move on, and maybe we should take this thing and put it in some sort of a war museum.
Right. And
not having it represent the goddamn Confederate soldiers in the middle of this town that's not Confederate. Okay, the war's gone, because you're holding on to this idea that your team lost a battle and that there's an invading army that's in with you right now. No, we're all Americans. Okay, this is old shit, 1860 shit. Okay, let it go, stupid. Let's take this down. And let's put up a goddamn glorious Kid Rock tattoo style eagle with a fucking flag behind it. Come on. You really love America? Let's take down the Robert E. Lee and put a hulking American eagle with a fucking flag blowing in the wind.
Just cash.
And then underneath it have a gigantic plaque of everybody that lost their lives in the last 2 wars over the last 20 years. Have that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is how it's being represented, too. Is it like a glorious statue, or is it just a relic of history? Because, like, I think the debate is...
have you seen it?
No.
I haven't either. Let's look at it. Find out what's the statue of Robert E. Lee that they were taking down. I'm curious.
Me too.
What if he was like, found out he was like banging a slave? Oh, that's it? Torch-wielding protesters rally a Confederate statue. Yeah. Can we go large on that, buddy? Wow. That's a beautiful piece of art. You know, I mean, much like when you look at Genghis Khan, it's a beautiful piece of art. You know, you look at some of the statues and things that they constructed from back in his day. You think about it, you go, wow, this was a guy at war.
Yeah, who killed like 5% of the earth. Yeah,
something even crazier. I think he killed like 10% of the world's population while he was alive.
Yeah, this is a tough one because it's like, because that is a rebel army we lost, so that should be taken down. But at the same time, it's like,
but what do you do with it?
Then do the natives Americans tell people to take down Washington? You know, then you start getting in a battle of like, well, this person wronged my people. Well, this person, and then you know, like I see people with Che shirts from Urban Outfitters, and I'm like, that dude committed genocide to a lot of people, you know, and it's like, at what point is it? With this one, I think that it's a valid argument to take it down because it was a rebel army a rebel army in the country that it's still in. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like it's a slippery slope of erasing.
Right.
You know?
Well, I don't think you should have it in your state capital, wherever the fuck that is. Is that what it is? State Capitol building?
Oh, well, that's a no-brainer.
It represents...
Yeah, that's state. Yeah,
is that what it is? I don't know where it is. See if you could pull it up again, just so we know what the fuck we're talking about. I think that was kind of like... I think it was like a state building. Like, it was a big deal.
That's how I felt about Confederate flag. I'm like, obviously take it off state buildings, justices.
Well, it's still a part of a few different flags.
Right. That to me crosses that line where you're like, oh, well, now you're incorporating it into the government that a lot of people associate with like valid social issues.
Yeah, I mean, to this day, I think it's on Mississippi's.
That's very intense.
Yeah.
It's in Emancipation Park in front of their courthouse.
In front of the courthouse. Yeah. Wow. Man,
that sets a bit of a tone.
You can't do that. I mean, you got to get that guy out of there. Look, I think for sure we should keep it. I mean, I don't think they should destroy it. Just like I don't think they should destroy, you know, if there's a statue of Mao somewhere. I don't think they should destroy it. I think we should look at it and hold on to it so that future generations can look back and go, wow.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Like Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
Like there's little pieces to be like,
yeah.
That people fucking split the world in two at one point. And if we forget that, we start doing this live action role play until someone gets hit by a car. It's like...
Yeah. Well, we want better, right? So we want better, so we pretend that better already exists or is possible if we force people to behave the way we want.
Right.
You know, there's a bunch of different ways where people try to achieve better, you know, and they're not all smart. Because a lot of them are based on how you feel right now and what you want to change, so you try to be forceful. But like the bounce back thing we're talking about, it doesn't really work like that. When you push too hard at people and you don't respect them, even if they're as ridiculous as a white nationalist, when you push at them, and why do I say it's ridiculous if you're asking? Because it's all ridiculous. I think being a black nationalist is ridiculous too. I think it's all ridiculous. I think you should be a human being. And just because you enjoy black culture doesn't mean you have to be racist. You can enjoy Chinese people just as much. We can all just be cool with each other. But this idea that there's like one superior race is insane. We are all interconnected in some very bizarre way, and we help each other, and that's what culture is. That's what civilization is. The reason why it all works so well is that we're all intertwined with each other, learning from each other, trying to figure out how to navigate this thing together, competing with each other, improving upon whatever the fuck it is we're working on because of the competition from all sorts of different parts of the world, different cultures and behavior patterns and levels of aggression, levels of intellect, and all of us combined in some sort of a swarming soup of innovation and ideas and communication and trying to figure this thing out together. And as soon as you just lump it all up to white people only, like, get the fuck out of here with that old stupid idea. That's a stupid idea.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so anti-PC and cultural appropriation stuff, because those are the mechanisms to share.
Yes.
Where it's like it's not because I'm white and I don't want people to get credit for whatever
Yeah.
it's saying, how do we, there's no quote that when goods stop going across borders, armies go across borders, where it's like, if culture's coming together and sharing and developing, and everything you just said is necessary for multiculturalism. And so if you say I can't wear a sombrero because I'm a white guy, even though I'm,
Stupid. As long as you're not being an asshole about it, you're just having fun.
and
What's the big deal?
And who needs that brim? White guys.
Yeah, pale as fuck.
Right, and
Mexicans have a nice dark complexion. They can handle it.
I know Jews have no brim.
Dude, very good, very important point.
Mexicans and Jews should switch hats.
Some of the super Orthodox ones, they have the crazy brim, right?
Yeah, they're like cheeseheads with fur.
Oh, that's a different one, right? That's a different one. That's a different kind of hat they wear. I've seen that one. Yeah. That's a weird one.
It's like part of West Hollywood has a bunch of those hats.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about Hollywood. When you drive, there's certain neighborhoods you go down to that are all Orthodox Jews, or at least a high volume of them.
Yeah.
So you see them with the strings that hang down from their belt.